How's everybody doing? Subscribe to the channel. This is Tony Also Knows Boxing, and I want to just clarify a few things over here. I heard and read that Shakur Stevenson said that Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor, that Amanda Serrano did enough. Well, that Katie Taylor did enough to win the fight. That it was 95-96, and so did Crawford. Crawford also said the same thing. And I think these people are delusional, or I don't know what it is, but I heard that Shakur Stevenson wants to get signed with Jake Paul. There's a rumor that is out there saying that Jake Paul is possibly going to sign Shakur Stevenson. I don't know how true that is, but the way Shakur Stevenson is backing out on being honest and being truthful, like the way he usually claims he is, keeping it real, I've always respected Shakur Stevenson for being honest and the way he fights. And I really think he's a very talented boxer and champion, three-time champion. But I feel like he's losing my respect as far as integrity, because he's going to say whatever is convenient for him because he wants to get signed with Jake Paul. That's a hypothetical. We don't really know for sure if Shakur Stevenson wants to get signed by Jake Paul. But I'm pretty sure anything's possible, and his opinion is really off. How could he actually say that that fight was that close and that Amanda Serrano lost by 95-96? I mean, the fight was competitive, but it was so obvious that Amanda Serrano won this fight clearly. So Shakur Stevenson, I don't know what fight he was watching, but he was watching his bank. He was watching the money in his pocket, how much money he could make. And I'm thinking that he might sign with Jake Paul. I don't know for sure if that's true, but for him to say that Amanda Serrano lost the fight by 95-96 in favor of Katie Taylor, he's delusional. He's very delusional, man. Like, I have respect for Shakur Stevenson. I would like to see him fight Tank Davis. And right now, from what I'm hearing and reading, Shakur Stevenson is supposed to fight Floyd Schofield. He's undefeated, and I don't know too much about him, but I think that it'll be an interesting fight if they fight, because considering what happened with Cepeda. William Cepeda pulled out because he got hurt. William Cepeda got hurt in the fight, not in the fight, in training. He hurt his hand, so the fight was canceled. It was canceled, so now he has to fight Schofield. Floyd Schofield, that's the opponent, and he's fighting early next year, 2025. That's what I'm reading, that Shakur Stevenson's opponent, William Cepeda, got hurt in training. I think he hurt his hand, and now they canceled that fight. And it could be Oscar De La Hoya trying to promote his fighter to get his name out there, because I don't really think that Oscar De La Hoya truly believes that this guy, William Cepeda, can beat Shakur Stevenson. I don't see it happening. I think Shakur Stevenson is just way more skillful and too technical, and I believe that he will see all of William Cepeda's punches coming from far. He will definitely see those punches coming because he's not so fast. He's pretty slow. Cepeda's a good fighter, undefeated, but he's unproven, and I feel like he hasn't fought anybody and he's very slow. Like, his punches are lethargic, and he looks good against the opponents that he's fought so far, but that's because he fought the right opponents. But if you fight somebody like Shakur Stevenson, he's not going to look good. And I feel like Tank Davis, he's fighting somebody we don't know about, Lamont Roach. I think that's a disgrace to boxing. Why are you fighting somebody from the amateurs that nobody really knows about and has not accomplished anything in the professional boxing rankings? So I feel like a lot of the boxers now, the big names, are just avoiding each other and trying to keep that undefeated record. And I'm just tired of that part of boxing. But look what Roy Jones had to say about who he thinks won the fight as far as Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. I respect Roy Jones a lot, because Roy Jones is one of my favorite fighters when like in the early 90s, or mid 90s, and he was like always a fighter that I definitely was impressed with. The way he moves, he puts his hand down, and he's quick, and he throws unorthodox combinations, from awkward stance, and he's very great defensively and very exciting to me. I think he was very exciting. And so I just totally think that Shakur Stevenson is way off on his assessment of the fight with Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. I had so much respect for Shakur Stevenson, but my respect, it was a 10 plus. Now my respect for him is a 7 minus because of what he said about the fight between Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. Yeah, so the thing is, I love Shakur Stevenson, but I don't like that he's not being truthful with this verdict between Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. Because I feel like that fight, it was so clear Amanda Serrano won. She was robbed 2 times already, 2 times in a row. And I feel Shakur Stevenson is probably saying that because he wants to get signed by Jake Paul. Yeah.
I was there. You
Look
were
what
obviously
Roy
calling
Jones
it.
said.
What was your thoughts on that? Because I know that Serrano threw the most punches per female CompuBox numbers. She landed 107 more punches, landed at a higher clip. I think we all saw those butts by Taylor, but somehow she still lost in a unanimous decision when they also took a point away from Taylor. So, I mean, from my point of view, the scoring was a little crooked, but what did you think?
Facts.
Let me say a few things. I'm glad you brought this up, and I want to say this without having any disrespect to anybody because that's not what I'm here for. But you gotta kind of call it like you see it. You feel me? I think first of all, for Serrano's side, I think both fights could have easily just as well went to Serrano as they did to Katie Taylor. Now, my thing is, your promoter is promoting the fight. The first fight is in your backyard. I feel like you won the first fight bigger than you won the second. If you won it, but they didn't give you the fight in your own backyard and your guys are promoting the fight. That's kind of strange to me, first. Yep. Secondly, this time, I think Katie closed the gap a bit better, and I thought Katie did better in the second fight than she did in the first fight. But if they didn't give you the first fight in your own hometown, and you got the promoters, why would I think they're gonna give you the second fight when Katie actually came up and did a bit better? You almost heard her. You heard her in the first round, but that's the only time you really heard her. She actually hit you with some pretty decent blows the second time that was kind of telling. And so like both you guys landed great power shots. She probably landed just as many as you. I'm not sure, but I mean I thought it was a great fight. I really thought Amanda probably edged out again.
Yep.
But I didn't expect them to give it to Amanda because if they didn't give it to her in her hometown, I really thought she probably really won it. I didn't expect them to give it to her on equal terms because it just don't happen that way. So now the part about the headbutt, Katie Taylor is part of the reason female boxers even in the Olympics. Katie Taylor you just have to dress as a boy to be able to fight in the UK because they didn't allow women.
Okay. So what he said right there is very crucial because I feel like Katie Taylor, they didn't give her the first fight. They gave her the first fight and they gave her the second fight. And they didn't give Amanda Serrano the first fight or the second fight despite her winning in her hometown. So it's like set up that way. I think Jake Paul, like he's giving her exposure, but at the expense of not even protecting her from losing the fight. So like from corrupt judges. So I feel that Jake Paul is only looking out for himself. He's actually grandizing himself and getting more views by using Amanda Serrano is actually helping with the audience, making it seem like he's actually doing something for Puerto Rican boxing when he really isn't. So I feel like it is strange that Amanda Serrano, who is promoted by Jake Paul, couldn't win the first time, even though she won. She clearly won the first fight with Katie Taylor, and in her hometown she couldn't win it. And in the second fight, she won too. But they say Katie Taylor was competitive, but a little bit better, but not in the way where she was outlanding Amanda Serrano. She wasn't. Amanda Serrano landed more than her and actually hurt her in both fights. But in the second fight, Amanda Serrano almost knocked her out. If the ropes weren't there, she would have fell down on to the canvas. The thing is, I know she's tough. She would have got up, and I don't know if she would have made it if they would have had 3-minute rounds. I think that there was 3-minute rounds. That if that fight, the second fight with Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano would have possibly knocked her out because it would have been more time for her to knock her out when she stumbled Katie Taylor to the ropes when she landed, and she would have been down or probably knocked down if there was a longer round, like 3 minutes. And I feel like it is ironic that Amanda Serrano didn't win in the first fight or the second fight in her hometown with the main promoter promoting her, Jake Paul. That's really strange, like what he said. It makes sense. I feel like, that he's just giving her exposure, but he's not actually helping her, like protecting her from a corrupt decision. And he's just trying to make himself look good, Jake Paul. So I feel the boxing corruption is a real problem in boxing, and I feel like that they need to do something about that. But in the rematch, they're saying they're going to have a rematch, a third fight, Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. But we can't keep having decisions like this. We can't. Because decisions like this is what messes up boxing for the boxing fans that really love the sport. And it brings it down when you're giving a great fight to the public, but you're not giving them an integrity in the sport. People want integrity. And that's what's missing. And I feel that that's a big disservice to boxing. What Roy Jones said is so pivotal and so right on the money, as far as he thinks that she won. She probably won both fights. He's being a little careful with his words, but I feel like Roy Jones really truly feels that Amanda Serrano won, but he wants to be respectful, but and call it how it is at the same time. I've always respect Roy Jones, but this is the problem with boxing and boxing in 2025. I feel like Tank Davis, the fight that he's gonna have with Lamont Roach, I'm not excited about it, and I feel like he should fight somebody that's worth fighting, that is actually gonna be at the same level as him. And Shakur Stevenson versus Tank Davis would be an amazing fight. And I really don't know who will win that fight. It's a very even match, but I feel like the boxer that can actually compete with Shakur Stevenson the most at this point will be Tank Davis. Tank Davis, it will be the one that can, the most technically sound and power hitter. He has a lot of different attributes. So yeah, I want to know what you guys think about Shakur Stevenson fighting Floyd Schofield. What do you think about it? He's got the opponent that he was gonna fight was gonna be, William Cepeda, and he pulled out because he got hurt in training, something like that, to that effect. And now he's gonna fight Floyd Schofield. I think, it's not something that I'm really excited about, but I feel like it's a good matchup considering that everybody else that he wants to fight is not he's not able to get those fights. So I still support Shakur Stevenson, but I don't like his opinion on the Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor fight. I think he's way off on that, and he needs to give me a reason why he thinks she won, because I feel like it's not narrowing down and it's not making any sense the way he's saying that she won 95-96. The fight wasn't that close. I don't think the fight was that close. But yeah. So what you guys think? Subscribe to my channel. Tony Also. Let me know what you think. Tony Also. Looking forward to the David Benavidez fight, February 1st. And I forgot to mention, December 7th, not December 15th. I thought it was December 15th. Liam Pardo's going to fight Hitchinson. And that's going to be December 7th. And the undercard, we're going to have Juan Zayas, the undefeated Puerto Rican prospect. He's decent. He's pretty good. I need to see more. He's a power hitter, undefeated. I feel like the undercard is going to help the local fighters in the undercard. I didn't see any eyeball catching fights, that in the undercard, but that's one that stood out to me. Juan Zayas, not Xander Zayas. Juan Zayas. He's a Puerto Rican prospect. I think he's in the 126-pound division. Check him out. He's pretty good, and the undercard is going to be interesting. But December 7th. Hitchinson versus Liam Pardo. I feel like it's disrespectful that they're going to put Liam Pardo in Puerto Rico after he beat Subriel Matias, but I guess that was the deal, that they were going to give Subriel Matias a pay-per-view fight for himself, which we saw last month. And I feel like that was part of the deal for him to take the Liam Prado fight and not win, but give Eddie Hearn's fighter the win, so that way they can move him up the ladder in the rankings. That's how the politics of boxing works with bigger promoters, you know. So, and Liam Prado is fighting Hitchinson, and that fight is it could go either way, but Hitchinson didn't look good in his last fight, and I feel like the Argentinian did enough to beat Hitchinson, but it was a close fight. But I think that it wasn't that close. I saw a clear victory for the Argentinian fighter that he fought against the last time around, and I feel that this fight is going to be a boxing match. Liam Prado could possibly win this fight, or he might lose. It all depends on the mindset and who has the boxing ability to dominate the other. And I'm not convinced with Hitchinson yet. I need to see more. He refused to fight Superior Matias when he was on top. You know, like for the IBF weight clause that they have. I just feel like there's too many excuses in boxing. But I feel that it's going to be a good exposure for Hitchinson to show what he's made of or what he's not made of. Or Liam Prado, if he wins this fight, possibly they could get a rematch with Superior Matias, because Superior Matias looked really good in his last fight. He knocked the guy out by second round knockout. I think it was Ramirez. So then we can see what happens in the rematch. Hopefully there's no more politics involved behind the scenes. But I feel that that December 21st, we're also going to have a real good fight with Tyson Fury versus Usyk Part 2. That's going to be in England, and I look forward to that as well. Subscribe to my channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Subscribe to my channel. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I'm about to step out. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of content before I leave. God bless. And I appreciate everybody tuning in. And those who support me and those who don't support me, I appreciate everything. You know, I don't care, you know, if some people agree with me or they don't agree with me. I'm here to give you the boxing unadulterated truth. And, you know, if you don't like it, you know, that's on you. But if you like it, hey, more love to you, more love to everybody that supports and doesn't support. It's all about giving people what they want, the truth. And this is boxing. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Subscribe to my channel. One love, everybody. Keep the positive energy coming. And the negative energy, oh, you're just making my channel bigger and better. But I focus more on the positive, because the world is toxic already. We don't need too much toxic around us. We need more positive. But the toxic, if you want to be toxic, you're still tuning into my live, and it's all good. You're still tuning into my live, and obviously I'm doing something right and something constructive. And if you're not doing anything constructive, that's on you. You can learn from me, and you can learn from somebody that's positive that can teach you how to be positive in your life. One love. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Subscribe to that channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Peace.